Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to talk about why my first reselling business failed and what we're going to do differently this time. Welcome into the Business RPG, guys. Thanks for clicking on the video. These videos we like to make to kind of give you some insights into how we're running our businesses, specifically the reselling business, and we're going to have more production business content in the future. But for now, this is something that we can make and crank out, and hopefully it's providing value for you guys. So be sure you leave a comment and give it a like and all that other good stuff. But let's go ahead and talk about the topic, why my first reselling business failed. So, this is not my first venture into reselling. I love this industry. It is a fun hobby. It's a hobby that pays pretty well. It's actually how we're covering rent right now, which is a huge blessing, and I'm really thankful for and optimistic as to where it can go next. But I definitely did not do it right the first time around. Back in 2016, I was fresh out of college and I decided to go full time into reselling, which was not the wisest decision at the time. I had a lot of things going for me. I had very low overhead for my living situation. I had a desire to learn, a desire to grow, but really, the only thing driving me was the fact I wanted to own my own business. My coach likes to tell me entrepreneurs are the only people who are willing to work 80 hours for themselves just so they don't have to work 40 hours a week for another person. And that is me to a T. That is exactly the description of Sir Isaac. And so that's all I was really going off of at the time. I was learning. I had been doing it for a little while. It was how I was covering my gas money and going to and from classes and food here and there. But I really didn't count the cost before I got started. And that may have been to my detriment. There were some really bad choices that I made early on that I think were contributing and just kind of stacked on top of each other as to why it didn't work out the first time around. And the first one of those is definitely bad investments. I made bad investments in both money and time. Like I said before, my overhead was very low as far as what I needed in order to survive, but I let that overhead grow really quickly. I started buying inventory on debt, and I don't mean I would spend thousands of dollars on inventory, but $100 here, $50 there, all that would really stack up quickly. And then I would have to put all my profits towards paying off the card at the end of the month, and I would only have enough to cover what I absolutely needed. On top of that, I started investing into storage units. I started to fill these spaces up with excess inventory, and I did not manage that very well. It ended up again cutting into my overhead and really cutting into my profits and adding on to the overhead. And that ended up being to my detriment in the end. And I look back now and I'm thankful that now we're at a point where we're out of debt and we don't have to worry about that again. But that was something that I really took for granted the first time around. The second thing that really hurt was I wasn't very consistent. I am thankful to be surrounded now with the people I'm surrounded with as far as like paid groups. I know Chase After the Right Price with the Caterpie crew has an amazing paid Discord. I cannot recommend it enough, whether you're new or well seasoned in reselling. But I didn't have any community to keep me accountable. And I am hesitant to put it that way because I don't want to make it sound like, well, it's the community's responsibility to keep me accountable. No, it's mine. But the community really helps with that. And that's something that I didn't have then. And I wish I had because my situation would have been completely different. But I was very inconsistent. My death piles would just mount up and I would still go out and buy new inventory and add to them. And that really hurt. It is a really bad habit to get into. And it's almost like an addictive cycle when it comes to buying, but not selling. I think the big kicker to all this was also that I went full time before I really should have. Again, my living situation was great, but I feel like I should have at least invested part of my time into something more stable. Now, with our current living situation and our current business model for the production business, that's what pays the bills. And so reselling is really able to be something on top that goes towards some bills. It has been going towards debt. We just recently got out of debt, which is great. But going full time at that point in time meant that my hobby had immediately become what my identity was. It became my work identity. It became something I had to do. And I hit burnout really, really quickly. I think that also contributed to the inconsistency and wanting to just do the fun part, which was buying things. But if I had something else occupying my time, it would have taken a lot of the burden off of the reselling, and I could have built that more slowly while having another income stream that I could actually live off of and utilize and continue to build some wealth at that point in time, because having a part-time job would have more than covered what my overhead was to live. So hindsight's 2020, and I'm thankful, especially for my wife, because she being my business partner and partner in life and all the different things that we're able to really get on the same page with has made a huge difference in my entrepreneurial journey now. For example, the business meetings that we get to hold. So, my wife and I sat down here just recently and we went over some of the things that we'd like to do with the business and how we're going to do things different moving forward, some changes we need to make with our current reselling business. And I thought I'd go ahead and share those with you as well in this video instead of just being all doom and gloom. So, here's some of what we're going to do differently. Step one is no more buying off of debt. This is going to be a hard one for me. I won't lie. I really would get into like a Robert Kiyosaki mindset where it was like, I can pay it with someone else's money and then leverage that and then all of a sudden be ahead and pay it off really, really quickly. No, I am already seeing a freeing nature that comes with buying with your own capital. And it's just going to be me really sticking to that and committing to that and focusing on that model. And I think it's going to pay huge dividends moving forward, especially when the amount of money that we're putting aside doesn't immediately have to go towards a debt payment. So, really honing that in, I think, is going to make a huge difference for how we do business now. Second thing that we're going to apply is new plans for consistency. We are trying to do about 6 listings a day. I know some of you might think that is ridiculously low. I know some of you might think that is crazy high. But the big rule of thumb that I hear a lot of resellers recommend to new resellers is get to where you're listing 5 items a day. And that's where we were at, but we've upped it to 6, and the plan is to eventually up it to 7 or 8 because that one extra listing every day really adds significantly to how much you're listing, how much you're getting up, and it pays off really, really fast. So if you can get to where you're listing faster and maybe listing more items in that same amount of time, it's really, really going to pay off if you are listing more, because more listings go up, more inventory is active, more eyes on your inventory, more sales come in, and then you have that money to reinvest back into the business. That leads me to the next step that we have, and that is there are no plans to take this business full time. We love what we do professionally with our other ventures, with the business RPG, with our production clients, and the business that we built over there. But reselling, I don't think will ever not be part of my professional life. I don't view it as something that I plan on doing full time ever again, but it is so fun. That is a big pull for me. It's also a great way to have an additional income stream. And if we can really systemize how we do business, then it's going to really pay off, not just as a hobby, but as an additional income stream. So there are no plans to take it full time. And that is actually going to be a huge plus for us because I will not get burnt out on this hobby again. That I can walk away from, as long as I stay consistent with it, I can walk away from and it not mean that the sky's going to fall because I didn't sell something today. Having said that, there are some changes that we've made to our business model as far as when we're going to list, how we're going to list, and I'm going to do another video on that in the future. So stay tuned. We got to experiment with a few things first, but I really hope to present a new model to you guys here soon. But I think the last big thing that we're going to do different is we're going to have very clear goals for this business. My goal is to get it to where we're bringing in about $1,000 a month pure profit from reselling on eBay. That, again, might sound like a ridiculously low number to some of you, and some of you might think that it is a crazy high number. But if we can get to this number, which based off of our current metrics and business model, I know is achievable, then that is going to be exactly what we need to do over the course of 2025 to be able to put a down payment on a house. We have a number in mind that we're trying to get to, and if we can stick to this number and if we can really invest and be strategic with our time and our structure and get this business running the way that we want it to, then this could be the vehicle to not only having money to put down on a house, but also to keep up with a mortgage. And that is what the goal is for us with eBay. eBay is going to be a vehicle for us to become homeowners, but then also when we get everything paid off, probably keeping it and sticking with it and turning it into kind of a family venture where we can have our kids contribute and be a part of it too. But with all those things aside, that's just some of the lessons of our failures and hopefully lessons that you can take away from, and also an idea of where we're going next. So, guys, let me know if this was any value to you. Let me know what your failures in reselling or business in general have been, what you've learned, and what it is that you're going to do different this time around for whatever it is you're doing. Down in the comments below, be sure you're subscribed so you never miss a new video. Click the like button, and thank you for playing the Business RPG.